Hey there, Katie Wrigley here. Thank you for joining me. I'm a transformational coach and I specialize in transforming stress and pain. And a lot of that work happens within the subconscious mind. And this super cool thing happens when you transform your stress and pain, and that is that you wind up transforming your whole life. So I created this video since the subconscious mind is a big part of our work together. I wanted to create this video so that you can understand how the subconscious mind works and what I have found to be one of the easiest ways to assess where you are and where you're going and how you're doing on that journey. Judgment-free, always judgment-free. This lens that I found to look through, I call the 4 areas of impact. And it's just a simple way to be able to look at life and assess where you are. So the physical area, this is going to be both your physical body, how you're feeling, as well as what are you eating? How much are you moving? Your physical environment as well. Is it conducive to healing or not? Do you feel safe in your environment? That also goes into mental a little bit too. Safety is big for all humans. Physical environment though, is it conducive to healing? Is it toxic for you? Do you feel safe? What are you cleaning your environment with? And what are you cleaning your physical body with? These are all things that can impact your stress and your pain. Verbal, that is going to be the best cue to start to tell you what pattern may be running. And we're going to go into patterns here in a little bit. But verbal is going to tell you emotionally how you're feeling. Emotional state, how is the emotional state overall? You can also utilize these 4 areas of impact to see what else you need. And the emotional state often can help show us where we have a need the most or whether we're already sourcing everything we need on our own. And then mental state, again, the safety, that always plays into it. Also, what is your overall mental state right now? Do you feel supported? Do you feel resilient? Or are you really struggling? And is mental health something that you're battling on a daily basis? Again, there's no judgment. This is simply a lens to look at to help you gauge where you are so we can figure out how to get where you want to go. So what do you want? That is the most important place to start. Doesn't matter what it is you want, the path to get there is going to be the same, or at least the process. So do you want less pain? Maybe you want to have more fulfillment with your work, or maybe you want a new career. Do you want financial abundance? That's something that's on a lot of people's minds right now because of what's going on with inflation. Do you want to travel more? Do you want to experience more joy? Do you want more time for yourself? Do you want more time for your kids, for your husband, your wife, your spouse, for whomever? Do you want everything that I put on this list and more? Again, whatever it is, I got you. Because the process to get you there is going to be exactly the same. We first need to start with where you want to go. I hear this a lot. We want to know the destination. You may be able to plug in with Google Maps, current destination to figure out where you're going. But with coaching, there isn't a current destination without doing some more internal work to figure out exactly where we are. And then we can plug in the destination where you want to go on the map. And then we're going to get you there. But it starts here with figuring out what you want. And now we're going to go into the subconscious mind. And before I do that, I want to give my assistant, Stephanie, a big shout out here. She is the one that created this. I absolutely love him. He is so cheesy. I want to find a name for him, but he doesn't have one yet. Anytime you can start to laugh or add comedy in, you're going to be relaxing your body, which is going to alleviate stress and alleviate some of the pain. And you're also going to be creating happy chemicals in your brain, which are going to combat those feelings of stress and pain. This is why you're going to see me trying to release comedy into my work wherever I can, which is not necessarily the easiest thing, because when you're talking about pain, it tends to be a heavy matter. But again, in my experience, what I've seen is the more you can lighten that up for yourself, the easier it's going to be. There are a couple things that are very important for you to understand about the subconscious mind. One of those is that it's been recording everything that has happened in your life from before you were born, the time when you were in your mom's belly, in utero, to now. It has recorded literally everything that has happened to you. It's recorded more than you could possibly even gather in the current moment. And the reason for that is that the subconscious mind is taking care of 90% or more of what is going on in your physical body. And I say 90% or more because I've heard varying facts. The smallest amount I've heard credited towards the subconscious mind is 90%. So what this means is that your conscious mind is responsible for 10% or less of what is happening in your body. I know it's mind-blowing, pun intended. But the problem with this is that you tend to think that whatever you're consciously aware of, that's your whole truth. And you're leaving 90% or more beneath the surface, unavailable to you until you start to learn how to tap into the subconscious mind and figure out what messages it's giving you. So this guy cracks me up. I really shouldn't because it's a painful face. This is the way that these patterns start to get created, these subconscious patterns. So what is a pattern? A pattern is going to be an emotion thought loop that starts to run. This happens and I do this. That happens and you do this. It's what we call autopilot. So your subconscious mind, its whole role is to keep you safe and alive. That's it. This also means it's going to be scanning for danger all the time, and then it's going to be alerting you through your physical body when there is something that you need to pay attention to. So let's say you're walking along and you start to have this feeling, and this is just the way it goes. There's going to be a sensation that starts to build up in the physical body based on your subconscious, scanning your environment all the time for different threats. It's going to create a sensation in there. When that sensation gets notable enough, the conscious mind is going to kick in with a thought. So that's what this looks like. Let me go into that a little bit more. So let's say it's an anxiety pattern. It starts to feel it in the body. The thought may be, by the time it gets to the conscious mind, is, how am I going to pay my bills? This inflation rate's crazy. How am I going to pay my bills? They're saying in Maine that it's going to be $3,000 to have fuel oil for the winter. And that doesn't even include how much it's going to take me to run my car and how much gas and groceries are. And the more you continue to think on that, the more this loop is going to get reinforced. So often as you are thinking about all these things, you aren't going to stop and pay attention to what's happening in the body. And that is what your body is actually asking for. So how can you start to tell some of these patterns that are starting to go on? That's where the 4 areas come in. So let's take the anger as an example, because this one's kind of a fun one for me because I have a few people I can think of. In my former state, before I've done the work that I've done now, I was pissed off for 42 years. So anger is something that's very familiar to me. So what's going to happen is a sensation is going to be coming up. Something happened in the recent past, or maybe a long time before that, but it has pissed you off. And so that feeling, that physical sensation is going to start to come up in the body. That's going to go into a thought in the head. Ugh, my freaking spouse sneezed on me wrong last night. Whatever it may be. But you're going to keep running on that. And then you're going to start to think about everything else that your spouse has done to piss you off. And then it's going to keep going and going and going. Oh, they didn't do this. And they didn't do that. And then they didn't let the dog out. And they didn't clean the cat boxes. And and you're just going to keep spiraling and spiraling and spiraling. And as human beings, one of the things that we need is to make sense of things. And we want to be right. So this means that we're going to be looking for evidence that we're right to have this sensation in the body. So we're going to be looking at things that are going to fuel that anger. We're going to sit down to the news more often. My mother, God love her, she's got an anger pattern running, and she watches Fox News for probably what I would say is, I can't judge her, I would consider probably an unhealthy amount of time, hours a day, but she loves it. And it feeds into that anger pattern, and it continues to enforce that, yes, she has plenty of reasons to be angry. If she was on social media, those would feed it as well. Same for you. When you're watching the news, and the news is meant to antagonize you. It is meant to get your attention. Your neurology is only paying attention to the threats. If there's warm, happy, fuzzy squishies on the news, that's no threat to you. You're not going to be as engaged. It is meant to get a response out of you. Same with social media. It has been proven over and over again that A, it's addictive, and B, it is created to polarize us and to piss us off and to divide us. So you are going to be looking at things on social media that are going to be going out there, and they're going to be fueling that anger. You may even be starting to put angry comments on there. So the way that you can start to see that this is running in your body, what are the words that are coming out of your mouth? If you're angry, you aren't going to be like, oh, honey, I love you. Have a great day. It's going to be more like, yeah, okay, bye. And that's if you're being polite. You're not going to be all warm, fuzzy, squishy when you have an anger pattern running. Physically, you're going to be feeling that anger. You may even be shaking. I know I shake a lot when I get angry. You may be shaking. You may be pacing. There's going to be something in your physical body that is leading you to see that. You may actually be taking it out in boxing or doing an anger run. The anger is the thing that is fueling you, and it's going to see it in the movements that you do. It's going to come out everywhere. Mentally, you're going to be feeling the weight of that. And in your physical body, by the way, it's going to be sitting in your liver, doing a little damage in there while it's in there. And that primary emotion, again, is anger. And it's going to be the same thing with shame, stress, fear, whatever that heavy emotion is, it's going to keep running, and you are going to keep looking for proof that you're right to have that pattern. So how can you break into that? I'm so glad you asked. So my favorite way is Cognomovement. You want to, in some way, shape, or form, still down everything in the world and really harness into the effect of the subconscious mind. You can do this through meditation, through breath work, through psychedelic ceremony with plant medicine. There's a lot of different ways that will help you actually access the subconscious mind. Hypnosis is another great one. Again, my favorite is Cognomovement with this ball. And Cognomovement, in short, is a way to be able to access the subconscious mind through a sensation in the physical body. So what we do is you are going to actually be really feeling that sensation in your body and getting familiar with it and describing it. And the more that you're able to feel it, the more you're going to have available to you to be able to break apart that pattern. When you can shift your focus to the feeling instead of to the thought, that's where the real power is. You can start to shift that cycle, look at different perspectives. And all of this is happening through various eye and body movements that we're utilizing together with the ball in our sessions. You're going to be remembering pieces of where this pattern came from in your life. You may even recall the earliest time that this pattern kicked in and what else it may be related to. We have found people who have thought that they were traumatized by their sister getting a popsicle and them not getting a popsicle in early childhood, and it has created this pattern that that person wasn't even aware of that was driving their life. I've certainly found the same myself, and my clients have as well. When you can start to tap into the power of the subconscious mind, that's where you can really get your answers and shift to what you really want to do, who you really want to be. And then that is going to allow you freedom from this. And this crazy thing happens where sometimes we can actually delete a full pattern in a session. Sometimes it may take a little bit more than that, but other times it's just one session and the pattern is gone. And this crazy thing happens of what we call cognoamnesia. And that means that we have gotten it to a point where you do not even remember your initial complaint. And I've seen many clients do this. I've had this happen myself as well, where I'm like, what did we even work on? I don't even remember, because it's just been gone after that. And it allows your body to be free of that emotion. The more that you can feel it, again, the more you can feel it, the more you're going to have available to be able to change. So you're going to find attached to this video a PDF to allow you to take action immediately, to start to dive into the 4 areas and take a look at yourself. So there's 4 different ways that you can use the 4 areas of impact. The first one is to assess where you are now. You can also assess what else you need. Are you getting the emotional and mental support that you need? Do you have a trusted group that you can go to, that you can be vulnerable with? What are you doing for exercise? Do you need to move more? Do you need to move less? Diet, etc. What else do you need right now? Those are the first 2 ways. So first, you're going to assess where you are. Second is it's going to help you figure out what else you need. And then third, it's going to also help you continue to monitor your progress as you're going. The last thing it's going to do is it's also going to show you the biggest influencers in your stress and pain state. So again, let me just recap. And the PDF is going to go over all this with you. It has instructions in there, so you don't have to write it down and remember it now. It's going to help you assess your current status. It's going to help you see what else you may need in any one of those 4 areas. It's also going to help you monitor your progress as you go, engage how close you are to being that person you want to be. And last, it's also going to help you determine the biggest influencers in your stress and pain. For instance, one of the practitioners I work with, I had recently been diagnosed with adrenal fatigue. And part of my prescription was to not watch anything that revved up my nervous system because it was revving me up and revving up my adrenals. It matters. The stuff you're watching matters. So being able to measure that as you go, that is incredibly empowering to being able to gauge your progress, figure out what course corrections you may want to make the course corrections, and keep going. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you will check out the PDF attached, and please reach out if you have any questions at all or if you'd like to have a further conversation with me. Have a great day.